What's up, everyone? It's Bones here. In today's video, we'll be making our way into a new set with the introduction of our new legendary duelist box, Soul Burning Volcano, and per usual, we'll be starting with the cover archetype, but before I start, if you're a fan of in-depth combo videos, new set coverage, and other fun Yu-Gi-Oh stuff that we occasionally like to do, such as tier lists and things of that nature, then partner up with Tony the Salamangreat Tiger and furiously claw those thumbs up and subscribe buttons to remind them that we aren't just Salaman good, we're Salamangreat. I would also like to mention that this first combo will only be shown to read over some of the new cards along with potential future implications, as the rest of the video will focus on the build that I will be showing off today. And the first card that we have is Salamangreat Tiger. It's a level 5 Cyberus Fire, 2000 attack, 500 defense. It reads you can discard one other Salamangreat card, special summon this card from your hand. You can only use this effect of Tiger once per turn. If this card you control would be used as synchro material for a fire monster, you can treat it as a non-tuner. Once per turn, you can increase or decrease this card's level by 1. And we're going to start this one by just activating the Sanctuary, and we just need level 8 access for our Synchro Summon, as we're going to go into our new monster, the Wandering Griffin, or the whatever Griffin is called, and it's called the Salamangreat Burst Griffin. It takes 1 tuner plus 1 non-tuner monsters. If this card is Synchro Summoned using Salamangreat Burst Griffin as material, you can activate this effect. During the next standby phase, special summon 1 monster from your graveyard, and you can target 1 level 7 or lower fire monster in your graveyard. You cannot special summon monsters for the rest of this turn except fire monsters. Also, you cannot special summon monsters for the rest of this turn except fire monsters. Also, special summon that monster, and if you do, reduce this card's level by that monster's original level, and you can only use each effect of Burst Griffin once per turn. And we're going to be able to use its effect now in order to revive the level 5, and the cool thing about this is that it has some future implications, being that we're getting a new rank 4 that is a Foolish Burial for pyro monsters, or fire monsters. I don't remember which one. I'll have a picture of it on the screen, but the point is that you can send your fire barrier statue, and because we can go into another copy of Griffin with Tiger and the previous copy of Griffin, it means that we can use its effect in order to get the special summon from our graveyard during the next standby phase. And that means that we can special summon out barrier statue on our opponent's turn to lock ourselves into only being able to special summon out fire monsters. And with that, I'll take you on to the beginning of the real combos, where I'll be showing what you'll be doing and the new combo card that we have from it. So in this first one, you want to be able to activate the Salamangreat Circle in the draw phase because you want to play around Droll this way. Now, the new card that we will be searching doesn't necessarily play around Droll, but just the fact that you can circle into it during the draw phase, and Salamangreat of Fire reads if this card is normal or special summoned, you can add 1 level 4 or lower Salamangreat monster from your deck to your hand, except Salamangreat of Fire means that it's a Gazelle Searcher, so you can go into your Bale with this, special summon out the Gazelle, and then get the Gazelle Send. Continue your plays from there without having to lose too hard into Droll, as then you can also not special summon monsters for the rest of this turn except fire monsters. At the start of the damage step, when your Cyberus monster battles, you can banish this card from your graveyard, destroy that monster you control. You can only use each effect of Salamangreat of Fire once per turn. Now, we're going to go on to the main phase, where we're going to be able to normal summon the Salamangreat of Fire, use its effect in order to add ourselves the Gazelle. Then we can go into our Bale, as we'll get the Bale's effect, then trigger the Gazelle in hand, as we'll be able to special summon it, use the effect in order to get our Sanctuary, along with the Send on field. As we're then going to send the Spinny, we're going to use the Spinny in order to revive itself, go into the Mirage Stallion, use the Mirage Stallion to bring out the Jack, as we'll then be able to go into our Sunlight Wolf. We can then put back the Fire with the Jack Jaguar in order to revive the Jack, use the effect of the Sunlight Wolf. Now we'll go into our next new card, the Raging Phoenix, and this is a Link 4 that takes 2+ fire effect monsters, and if this card is Link summoned using Salamangreat Raging Phoenix as material, you can add 1 Salamangreat card from your deck to your hand. If a face-up fire monster you control is destroyed by battle or card effect while this card is in your graveyard, you can target one of them, special summon this card, and if you do, it gains attack equal to that monster's. You can only use each effect of Raging Phoenix once per turn. So, nice little recurability there, but also the ability to add yourself a Salamangreat card is pretty big, since it's also a 2800 body, which is something that Salamangreat has had struggles with in the past, which is just where you end your board with probably your counter trap or something, and then you have a 1700 beatstick in Sunlight Wolf or 1800, whatever it is, and then you have the other backup plan, which is Bale, and your highest attack monster would be the Mirage Stalio if you had that at 2000 attack, unless you had a rank 4 like Baguska. Now, we're going to activate our Sanctuary so that we can reincarnation link into the second copy of the Phoenix. Use the effect of the Phoenix in order to add ourselves the Roar or whatever else you want to add, as we'll then be able to set the Roar and end our turn on that. Now, for this next combo, and this is, I use this term loosely, but one of the spicier combos in the video, as we'll now be able to normal summon the Fire, then use the effect of the Fire in order to get ourselves the Gazelle, and now we can go into our Bale, as we'll be able to use the Bale along with the Gazelle, as we can special summon out the Gazelle and get the send along with the search of the Sanctuary. So we'll use the Gazelle now in order to send our Spinny, use the Spinny so that we can have access into our Mirage Stalio, use the effect of the Mirage Stalio to bring out the Jack, and now we can go into our Sunlight Wolf, as we'll then be able to use the Jack, putting back the Fire, and from here we'll be able to get the effect of the Sunlight Wolf, also triggering our Foul, giving us an extra level 4, which is pretty nice, as we'll be able to add ourselves the Salamangreat Gazelle. And now we can go into our Dempsey, which is another new card that we'll be getting for the Battle and Boxer archetype, but it's a generic rank 4 that takes 2 level 4s. And if this card is special summoned, you can take 1 level 4 or lower Fire Warrior monster or 1 Battle and Boxer spell trap from your deck and either add it to your hand or send it to the graveyard. Quick effect, you can detach 1 material from a monster you control, and if you do, your opponent cannot target Battle and Boxer monsters you control with card effects this turn. You can only use each effect of Dempsey once per turn. And the ability to add ourselves a new counter trap that we'll also be getting in this set is pretty nice, because on turns where you don't normally end up with a counter trap for the Salamangreat archetype, now we have one, even if it is just for monster effects. But this one is called Cross Counter, and when your opponent activates a monster effect, destroy 1 Battle and Boxer or number exceed monster you control. And if you do, negate the activation. And if you do that, destroy that monster. Then you can apply this effect. Special summon 1 Battle and Boxer exceed monster from your extra deck with a different name than your destroyed monster. And if you do, attach this card to it as material. You can only activate 1 Battle and Boxer cross counter per turn. Now, we'll be able to set ourselves the cross counter along with being able to activate the Sanctuary and end our turn on this. For this next combo, we now have the Salamangreat of Fire with the Spinny, and I know that this is just a bunch of Salamangreat of Fire combos, and that's because it is the primary combo piece that we got for this set with the current cards that we have now, so that's why I want to focus on this card for the video, as we're going to add ourselves the Gazelle, use the effect of Spinny, go into our Bale, we can trigger the Gazelle now, as we'll get a search for the Sanctuary off of the Bale, and then we can get ourselves the send to the graveyard off of Gazelle, as we'll be able to send the Roar, and now we can use the Spinny to revive itself, as we'll be able to go into our Mirage, use the effect of Mirage, which will allow us to bring out the Jack, and now we can go into our Sunlight Wolf, use the effect of the Jack, returning the Fire, and now we can special summon out the Jack, use the effect of the Wolf, which will get back the Gazelle, activate our Sanctuary, as we're then going to reincarnation link into our Raging Phoenix, use its effect along with the Roar in order to get ourselves the set of the Roar from the graveyard, as we'll also be able to add ourselves the Salamangreat Rage or the Circle. It only matters what you add depending on the situation, but just to show that you can get an extra disruption, we're going to add the Rage and end our turn on this. Now for the next combo, we have Salamangreat of Fire along with the Will, and we're going to start by normal summoning the Fire, using its effect to add ourselves the Gazelle per usual, go into our Bale, as we can now trigger off the Gazelle along with getting the search for the Sanctuary. We can now activate our Gazelle, as we'll get the send for the Spinny, use the Spinny in order to get access into our Mirage Stalio, go into our Mirage Stalio, use its effect in order to special summon out the Jack, and now we can go into our Sunlight Wolf, use the effect of Jack in order to bring itself back by putting back the Fire. Now we can use the effect of the Sunlight Wolf, get back our Gazelle, as we'll then be able to activate the Will, get back our Bale from the graveyard, so that we can go into Raging Phoenix, and this just gives us the ability to keep the Mirage Stalio on board, so that we have extra follow-up for our next turn, as we're going to activate the Sanctuary, go into our Raging Phoenix, get ourselves a search for a Salamangreat spell trap card, and now we can just set the Roar or whatever else you get and end our turn on that. Now for this next combo, I want to show what happens if you open with the Gazelle, since it's something that we've been adding all video long. along, and we're going to normal summon our fire, get ourselves the foul, or you can get the spinny depending on whichever combo you want to go for that you've seen from previously, and then we'll use the effect of the gazelle, as we'll then use the effect of the bale to get ourselves the add along with the send on field from the gazelle, getting ourselves the spinny in the graveyard. We can then get our access into Mirage Stalio, go into our Mirage Stalio, use the effect of Mirage in order to get our Jack, and now we can go into the Sunlight Wolf, as we'll be able to use the effect of the Jack, putting back the fire so that we can revive the Jack, use the effect of our Wolf, which will allow us to also trigger the foul on the special summon of the Jack, as we're then going to get ourselves back the Gazelle, go into our Dempsey, then you can use the Dempsey, or you can just go into your number 41, as we'll add ourselves the cross counter, and now we can set the cross counter along with activating the Salamangreat Sanctuary and end our turn. Now for this next combo, I want to show what happens when you don't start with the Salamangreat Fire, and we're going to start with Gazelle along with the Salamangreat Will, and we're going to normal summon the Gazelle, we're going to send the Spinny, as we'll then be able to use the Spinny's effect, bringing itself back into our Mirage Stalio, as now we can get our fire this way, and this will give us the addition of an extra Salamangreat monster. We'll get ourselves the Jack Jaguar this way, as we're going to go into our Bale. We can then get ourselves our search for the Sanctuary. We'll then be able to activate the Will, as we'll be able to special summon out the Jack from hand, as we'll then go into our Sunlight, use the effect of Jack, putting back the fire, and this just gives us access into our regular Salamangreat plays that we've been making before, as we add the Gazelle back to hand, go into our Raging Phoenix, activate the Sanctuary, go into our Raging Phoenix via Reincarnation Summon, then use our effect in order to get ourselves a Roar or whatever else you want to hand, set the Roar, and end our turn. Now, for the last combo, before the test hand, we have the Circle along with Fire and Foul, and we're going to start on draw phase, important, in order to play around Droll to add ourselves Gazelle, as now we can use the effect upon summon of Salamangreat of Fire in order to add ourselves the Spinny, and now we can go into our Salamangreat Bale, use its effect along with the Gazelle in hand to special summon it, as we'll get our add of the Sanctuary, use the effect of Gazelle on board in order to send the Roar, and now we can use the Spinny, as we'll target whichever monster, doesn't matter since they're both going to leave, as we're then going to go into our Mirage Stalio, use the Mirage Stalio in order to bring out our Jack, as now we'll be able to go into our Sunlight Wolf, use the effect of the Jack in order to put back the Salamangreat of Fire and special summon itself, as we'll be able to use the Sunlight Wolf, triggering the foul as well upon the special summon of Jack, as we'll get back our Gazelle, go into Dempsey or number 41, depending on whatever else you want to do, as we'll add ourselves the cross counter, and now we can activate the Sanctuary. We'll go into our Sunlight Wolf, as we'll be able to trigger off the Roar in our graveyard, getting it back, as now we can activate the Sunlight Wolf, getting back our Circle, and now we can set the cross counter along with the Circle with the Roar already set, ending our turn on this. Now for the test hand, I wanted to do a more combo-oriented hand because the deck plays a lot of going second cards, so there's a lot of familiar 2-3 card combos that you'll be playing most of the time that you play this deck, and I feel like learning the nuances of combo heavier hands is more important. So on draw phase, I'm going to start with the Salamangreat Circle to add the Gazelle, as we'll then be able to go into our main phase, normal summon the Foxy, not use its effect, which is important because we do want to not play into Droll that way, as we'll be able to add ourselves the Sanctuary, and then we can use the effect of the Gazelle in order to send the Roar. We'll now use the effect of Spinny, targeting Gazelle or Bale, doesn't matter since they'll both leave, and then we'll be able to go into our Mirage Stalio, as we'll use the Mirage Stalio in order to special summon out the Jack, and now we can go into our Sunlight Wolf, as we'll activate the Salamangreat Will, and then we can activate the Will to bring out the Fire so that we can add ourselves the Foul off of the Fire. Now we can use the effect of the Jack Jaguar in graveyard, putting back the Foxy, as we'll then be able to use the Sunlight Wolf, getting back our Gazelle to hand, but we'll also trigger the Foul to special summon itself out so that we have that rank 4 access. And now you can go into your number 41, or you can go into your Dempsey, as the Dempsey will be able to add us the cross counter, and now we can go into our Raging Phoenix in order to activate our Sanctuary, Reincarnation Link Summon to go into our Raging Phoenix, use the effect of Roar in the graveyard, as we'll also be able to get ourselves the Surge of the Rage, and now we can set our cross counter along with the Rage to end our turn on that. Now with all of the combos out of the way, we can get onto the deck profile, and the first thing I would like to do before I continue is read the rest of the new cards. Salamangreat Weasel reads, if you have 2 or more Salamangreat monsters in your graveyard, you can special summon this card from your hand. If a Salamangreat Ritual Fusion, Synchro, Exceed, and or Linked monsters is special summoned to your field while this card is in your graveyard, you can target one other Salamangreat monster in your graveyard, place this card on the bottom of the deck, and if you do, special summon that monster to your opponent's field, then draw 1 card. You can only use each effect of Weasel once per turn. And this is a card that requires a good bit of setup, which is the reason why I don't play it. It's also a card that I feel doesn't necessarily benefit the strategy too much, which is why I like to fire a lot more and focus this video on it. We do have a new quick play, Salamangreat Charge, that reads, activate one of these effects, target 3 of your fire monsters that are banished and or in your graveyard, shuffle 2 of them into the deck, and if you do, special summon the 3rd. But for the rest of this turn, its effects are negated, also it cannot attack. Another effect that requires setup, which is another reason why you don't see it in the main deck, but the second effect reads, if you control a fire, ritual, fusion, synchro, exceed monster whose current attack is different from its original attack, target 1 card on the field, destroy it. So if we had a way to modify our attacks better, I would consider this, but because we don't, I just don't think it's worth it at this point in time. And we also have Rage regardless, so then the last card that we have here is Salamangreat Revive, and this one reads, target 1 fire monster in your graveyard, special summon it. You can banish this card from your graveyard, then target 1 Salamangreat monster you control and 1 monster with the same name in your graveyard, shuffle that monster from the graveyard into the deck, and if you do, the other monster you control gains attack equal to its own original attack until the end of this turn. You can only use each effect of Revive once per turn, and I think that the use that this card could have comes with the ability to revive the statue, where I don't even think you would go into the Burst Griffin for it. I think that you would go into the rank 4, and I forget the name of it, but you'll be able to essentially send your statue and then revive it off of a searchable trap, which overall, in my opinion, will be better. But now I do want to talk about the ratios of Salamangreat Fire along with the Flame Buffalo, and you'll see that I have 3 fires, but this is very easily interchangeable by going with the 1 fire and the 2 Flame Buffalo. It depends on how you want to play your deck, but at the same time, I mention it because having the ability to use your Flame Buffalo and then trigger the Bale as Chainlink 1 and Chainlink 2, just preventing your Bale from getting hit by an Ash or anything like that, can prove to be more helpful than just having the Salamangreat of Fire. And as you saw in one of the previous combos, you can just special summon out your Fire via the Mirage Stalio. Again, it's just something that is noteworthy, but it's not something that you have to follow by. You can choose whichever one you want to play at 3, but I do think it's interchangeable depending on the build and the format. Outside of that, not much has changed. The Dempsey can easily be number 41 or any other rank 4, and the cross counter can just be another going second card or even called by the grave. I am on the Desires because once you get into your 1-ofs, it's just free to use and it's a draw 2. And as for the going second cards, these are also interchangeable. I don't like to put too much stock into my videos on going second cards because the game is always changing, so you should always take that into consideration whenever looking at not just my videos but any video on YouTube. Go with whatever is currently best for you. And also want to talk about sign-up mining, which I know some people cut to 2, and that's something that you can do as well. I just wanted to max out on the consistency, especially since we're on the 2 Desires, and just not being able to get into your Cyberus monsters can be detrimental, as you do play a lot of going second cards, and there will be hands where you just open your going second card along with potential Salamangreat traps and stuff like that. With all of that out of the way, I'll take you onto the card by card, since everything else is almost identically the same. And we have the 1 Gazelle, the 1 Foxy, the 1 Fowl, the 1 Fire, or the 1 Flame Buffalo, depending on what you want to do. Same thing with the 3 Flame Buffalo or the 3 Fire, depending on what you want to do. We then have the 3 Salamangreat Circle, the 2 Rage and the 1 Roar, the 3 Droplet, the 3 Imperms, the 1 Counter, the 2 Desires, the 2 Will, the 1 Sanctuary, the 3 Spinny, the Falco, the 2 Jaguar, 3 Signet Mining, 3 Ash, 3 Droll to round out the main deck. Onto the extra deck, we have the 3 Bale, the 3 Sunlight Wolf, the 2 Heat Leo, the 2 Raging Phoenix, Update Jammer, Transcode, access code Mirage Dalio, and your rank 4, which in this case we have Dempsey for the video. For everyone who's made it this far, I'd like to thank you for watching and for the 500 plus subs. I truly appreciate your support. We've monetized the channel, giving us access to supers and memberships, which means more awesome stuff is on the horizon. To get the channel membership, just click on the description below, and there will be a link that takes you there. You'll also notice a free Discord link that I've made for us too. If you want to support me as a content creator, even if you can't donate supers or get a membership for the channel, clicking on those thumbs up and subscribe buttons help a lot too. For those wondering, I do plan on making updates to the channel as the support on the channel grows. Anyways, I hope to see you on the next one. It's Bones, signing out.